Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into a topic that's sure to have you going, never thought about it that way.
It's one of those things, right? Hidden in plain sight. Or, well, not really sight in this case.
Exactly. We're talking about light specifically,
Look.
infrared light, and its impact on our health. We've got two awesome interviews lined up for you, one with a medical doctor and another with, get this, an astrophysicist, both looking at this from such fascinating angles.
And we'll be digging into some research on infrared saunas, too.
So much to unpack. But right off the bat, did you know that over 50% of the sun's energy is actually infrared, and that we've basically engineered it out of modern buildings?
Wild, isn't it? It's like we're so focused on visible light, but there's this whole other world our bodies have evolved with for billions of years.
It's like finding out we've been missing a key nutrient this whole time. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Why does this even matter? We all know sunlight, sunburn, vitamin D. So what's the big deal about infrared?
Okay, so think about it. Plants use visible light for photosynthesis, right? But we're only now realizing humans have evolved to use infrared in ways we're just starting to grasp.
Okay, starting to grasp. Give us the science-y rundown.
For over 3 billion years, life on Earth has been bathed in the full spectrum of sunlight that includes a good chunk of infrared. Now, each infrared photon, it's got low energy compared to, say, UV light, which is why it doesn't burn us.
Right.
But here's the thing. It penetrates deep into our bodies, like way deeper than visible light, up to 10 centimeters.
10 centimeters. Wow, that's...
It's a whole different way of interacting with us, right? It's not just hitting the surface.
Okay, so we know it's getting deep inside.
Yeah.
But what's it doing down there? What's the big deal about it penetrating our tissues like that?
One expert we came across used this great analogy. Imagine gently shaking a complex machine, just to keep all the parts moving smoothly, as opposed to like whacking it with one strong force.
I like that.
That's kind of how infrared light is. It's this gentle energy that seems to keep things running smoothly at the cellular level. One expert even compared our bodies to interstellar nebulae, both absorbing and emitting light to find a balance.
Interstellar nebulae. Now, that's what I call a deep dive. But let's bring it back down to Earth for a sec. Cells, you mentioned. What's the actual science behind how infrared interacts with them?
Think of infrared light like, almost like a lubricant for our cellular engines, helping them run more efficiently, more smoothly.
Okay, I'm with you.
And that directly impacts our metabolism, how our bodies use energy. Actually, some researchers are even suggesting this lack of infrared in our modern world. Could it be connected to the rise in metabolic disorders like diabetes?
Oh, diabetes.
Houston?
That's a pretty big claim. Are we saying more infrared light could help prevent or even manage something as serious as diabetes?
Well, more research is definitely needed, but it's a fascinating avenue to explore. If our cells aren't functioning optimally because of an energy deficiency, it makes sense our overall health could be affected, right?
Right.
And infrared light might just be that missing piece we've been overlooking.
So we're talking about influencing our cells' energy production at a really basic level. I'm starting to see why this is so important, but before we get too far down that road, our sources mention some other, shall we say, interesting ways infrared impacts living things.
Yeah.
Mushrooms, for instance.
Oh, yeah. Apparently, mushrooms use infrared light to give their spores an energy boost, helping them spread out and reproduce more effectively.
So not only is this invisible light potentially influencing our cells' energy, it's also playing a role in how mushrooms do their thing. It's already blowing my mind.
Yeah.
But if we evolved alongside this essential light, as you said, what happened? Why are we suddenly facing an infrared deficiency?
Well, it all comes back to what we were talking about earlier, those energy-efficient buildings.
Okay.
Saving energy, super important, of course. But it's like we've gone a little overboard. Many modern buildings, in trying to be as efficient as possible, they've basically become infrared blockers.
So we're living in these high-tech bubbles, perfectly climate-controlled, but accidentally filtering out this light our bodies evolved to depend on. Kind of like eating processed food technically got calories, but missing something vital.
Exactly. And here's the thing. This shift in our light diet, so to speak, it's happened alongside this huge rise in chronic diseases. Now, correlation doesn't equal causation, of course.
Right.
But researchers like Dr. Max Gullhane, he's really digging into this. He suggests that too much artificial light, especially the blue light from all our LEDs, it could be messing with our mitochondrial function.
Mitochondria, those cellular powerhouses we were talking about. Makes sense that'd be impacted. They're all about energy production. But wait, are we saying ditch all our lights, go back to candles? Seems a bit extreme.
No, no, not at all. LEDs have their downsides, yeah, especially that blue light overexposure, but they're also energy efficient, which, like we said, is important.
Okay, so it's not as simple as all LEDs are bad.
Yeah.
What should we be looking for then? What makes a good light source
Yeah.
health-wise?
Well, Andrew Latour, he had some great points in one of the interviews.
Yeah.
Brightness is key, obviously. Don't want things too dim, but overly bright isn't good either. Got to find that sweet spot.
Right. Makes sense.
Then there's color temperature measured in Kelvin. You'll see it on light bulb packages. Lower Kelvin, around 2700 K. That's a warmer, more yellowish light, kind of like old school incandescent bulbs.
Yeah.
Higher Kelvin LEDs, like 4000 K and up, those are much cooler, bluer light.
I've totally noticed that. Got some super bright LEDs once. Way too high Kelvin. Not exactly relaxing, let me tell you.
Huge difference, right. And then there's the color rendering index, CRI. Basically, how accurately a light source shows colors compared to natural sunlight. Closer to 100 is better.
CRI. Got it.
Yeah.
Anything else to watch out for in this light bulb jungle?
Oh, one more flicker. You'd think that's just an old fluorescent light problem, but
Don't tell me LEDs flicker too.
some do. Might not be visible to our eyes, but lots of LEDs, especially the cheaper ones, they flicker at a rate that can mess with our brains and bodies.
Wild. So much to think about with lighting now. But back to infrared specifically. If LEDs are mostly in the visible spectrum, are we stuck with this light diet deficiency? Any way to supplement our intake, so to speak? So, lots to consider when we're shopping for light bulbs now. But what about those of us who spend hours under fluorescence? Like the average office worker. Anything we can do to, I don't know, boost our infrared intake throughout the day?
Yeah.
Or are we fighting a losing battle there?
It's definitely trickier, yeah. But not hopeless. One thing people find helpful is those orange-tinted glasses, the blue-blocking ones, especially later in the day. They filter out the harshest blue wavelengths.
Right, those are everywhere now. You even got nighttime versions.
Exactly. And you know what's funny? With all this research, those old-school incandescent bulbs, the ones with the filament you can see, that warm glow,
Yeah.
turns out they're actually great sources of infrared.
Get out, seriously. Those vintage-looking ones. I think I even have a few stashed away. Who knew they'd be trendy again? Yeah.
Right. It's amazing how things come full circle. One of our experts actually uses them in his own home, dims them a bit to make them last longer. Simple way to bring back some of that missing infrared.
Love it. Simple solutions are the best.
Yeah.
But it's clear, we've just scratched the surface here, haven't we? This whole world of light and how it impacts us, especially infrared. What's next for this kind of research? What are experts hoping to find out?
They all seem to agree we need more collaboration, bring in people from different fields, medicine, architecture, even astrophysics, like we saw.
Right, makes sense.
Connect the dots, look at it from every angle. It really highlights how connected we are to our environment, and light plays a bigger role than we thought.
It's like a whole new way of thinking about health, isn't it? It's not just what we eat or how much we exercise. It's the light we're surrounded by, too.
Exactly. It's about tuning into our bodies, noticing how we feel under different kinds of light. Do we feel more energized, more relaxed? Pay attention to those cues. Our bodies are telling us something.
So true. Listen to your body. Be mindful of the light around you. Well, this has been an eye-opening deep dive for sure. Or should I say, light-opening. It's amazing how some of the most important things for our well-being can be hidden in plain sight. Or, well, just outside our visible spectrum in this case. Thanks for joining us.